Hey guys, so welcome to Comfy Cozy Up. I'm here to do my April wrap up. So April was a really good reading month for me. I think it was just because there was just so much going on. It was easy to dive into some books, but a lot of them are from one author, and also quite a few of them are ebooks. So different genres. There's a lot of romance in this. There is some literary fiction in this, mystery. And for me, I would say majority of them I enjoy. There is two that were just okay. But I'm gonna dig in and we're gonna talk about these books. So let me start with the physical books because I think I need to just get those out of the way first. Now, this particular author, I read her book, Halsey Street. So I wanted to read her debut, sorry, a follow-up book, because I did enjoy that book, even though that book was had mixed review. But I dived in. So this is What's Mine and Yours, by Naomi Costa. Now this book, it didn't hit me how I wanted it to hit me. It was just okay. This was an okay read. This is a story about two mothers and their pretty much their children. It's multi-generation because the story follows the mothers, and you have a black mother who is had to endure a very traumatic event that her son witnessed, and it followed him throughout his life as an adult, and it showed how much that event can really mold someone and how they someone sometimes never get over it. Then you have another mother who is Latina, but she's more on the white side of the Latina side in her mind. Anyway, she has three daughters, and she is a woman who had struggled to take care of the three daughters. She's had a husband who's been having an addiction and in and out of jail, and she's kind of stuck. And you follow also the children, and how these two mothers connect is the son is eventually marries one of the daughter, and you see how their complicated relationship is affected by their childhood trauma and things that happen. Now, there are parts of the story that I was very much glued to and I found very interesting, and then there's part of the story that just didn't do it for me. I was just kind of annoyed, or just was just not. It was just no. It was a no for me. So I would say overall, this is more like a 3-star book. Depends on what day you ask me, a 2.5. That's how I took this book. It just did not give me the feel that I wanted it to give me. I get it. I get the whole traumatic event, but it just wasn't. It didn't live up to expectation. So that's the best way to put it. The next book is The Vanishing Girls. So, you guys know I enjoyed from this author, Kylie Browning, the girl with the hazel eyes. So this is the follow-up, and I kind of didn't understand why it was a follow-up, but I didn't really get the connection. That's how much I did not pay attention to get the connection. I did not read the prequel, so I didn't really understand what the connection was, but it was interesting to learn what the connection was. This is a story that is taking place in the Barbados. He's a Barbadian author, and there's a serial killer, Roman. There's a girl who is she needed a job, and she didn't want to disclose her identity, but they hired her anyway. So she got hired at this mortuary, and she was doing a job that eventually she was okay with. But what was interesting is that she's working the mortuary while all this serial killing is going on. And the guy who happens to own it, he is have family feud within their business with his brother, and there's conflict there. There's another gentleman that works there that was pretty cool, but you know, he's just a nice guy, but there's some connection there. I was literally trying to figure out who the killer was, because in my mind I just knew it was going to be associated with that group. And I like how the twist and turn happened, and I was just completely like, what? Didn't see that coming kind of deal. There is some romance, but I kind of felt like, was it necessarily? The romance to me was kind of like, it just didn't do it for me as far as the romance. I was more interested in um, the whole idea of the creepy part, the creepy element of finding out who was the murderer. I enjoyed that aspect better. And also the secrets behind the main character. Who is she really? I thought that was interesting. So this is another one where it's like romance were added in, where I'm just, even though I'm a romance girl, it was okay, that romance part. Then you guys know how I felt about this book. I did a review on this. This is The Son of Mr Suleiman. This is Eric Jerome Dickey's latest book. He's an author, if you are not familiar, that passed away back in January. He has published about 29 books, so, and I've read quite a few of them. I was very much pleasantly surprised how much I enjoyed this. It's a chunky book. Took me a while, but it was just an amazing story. This is about a black professor at a university in Memphis. And what I enjoy about this is how you see him develop throughout the story of a man who is raised by a single mother, who his idea of what his father is wrapped up in the fact that his mother was a teenager and his father was a grown man at the time that was married. But as the story goes on, his father reached out before he passed, and he's learning about his father. Also, he's dealing with the situation at the university where he is amongst, there's a lot of racial tension. He's treated very poorly as a black professor who's on the same level as his colleagues who just don't have any respect for him because he's black. He's also being blackmailed by a white woman who is also a professor, who's married to a judge, so who's very powerful in that community, and she knows her power and she's trying to manipulate. And you find in the story how he's able to get through all of that. Now, he also threw in a romance in this. In a way, the romance was very interesting because of the fact that they're both dealing with similar issues, but in a different way, and it also gives them a different sense of their own identity. And I thought that was interesting. This is one where I would say watch my reading vlog, because I really dig in more of the overall gist of the story and why I thought the story was very interesting and cleverly done, and how relevant it is to now, because you could tell when he wrote this, it was in the height of all the protests that was going on, and he took a different take to it that I thought was interesting. This is definitely a book club kind of book, because there's a lot of discussion you can have about this, because there's things about this that you will agree with, and there's things about this that you definitely won't agree with, but it makes it an interesting discussion. So I felt about that. Then gotta get to Bernice McFadden. Now, this is Gathering of Water. Now, this is a story that I picked the story blind, because I just bought this book, and I think this is the only book I have, physical book I have from her that I haven't read yet. And I was like, I want to read it. Let me get it off my bookshelf, my TBR shelf. And it gives you this magical realism of a family curse or a family bad decision, and how generation after can be affected by that bad decision. This is how it gives you, but she did it in a way where she's telling the tale of Emmett Till. So if you are not familiar with that story, you will, well, you should if you live in this country, of a young boy who was accused of whistling at a white woman and was murdered. But she did it in a way, it's creepy. This is like a book where it is creepy, it's eerie, but she described things in a way that you can imagine. I was reading this and I can imagine the stroll down the road. I can imagine the creep. And the characters in this are so flawed but interesting at the same time. And you can see how she became creative in this story that could have completely, been more bizarre more than, actual magical in a way. I really enjoy this. It's not my favorite from her, but I like the creative part of the story. I like how she writes. This woman, every book I read from her, her writing is good. If you have not read any book from Bernice McFadden, I highly suggest you pick one up, because her writing, she's like that author. I'm like, man. I need to get on her level. I have met her in person, and she's really a sweetheart in person as well. But I am so looking forward to keep reading. I don't want to just rush through all her books, because eventually I do want to read every single one of them. But little by little, I've been, reading through them, and I think this is number 5, I think, or 6. Can't remember, but oh yeah, this is good, and I love this copy that I got. I love the edges and. Yeah, creepy, real good, creative as hell. Yeah. So I'm gonna use my journal, because everything else from here will be ebook. So I'm hoping this video is not too long, because guys, I've read 14 books this month. 14? Yes. Yeah. So the first book that is e-copy was a poetry collection, and it's called G-String. Heartache and G-Strings, and this is by Q St. Lou. I enjoy this. I recited one of the poems that was written and that I loved, and it's just it gives you the feel. The title really matched the feel for the poetry in this, and the collection was very well done. I like this. It's an indie author, and I was here for it. So now we went down the Alexander House road, and I've read 9. Yeah, there were series, and then there was novellas. So some of these were short, some of these were between 100 and 140 something pages, and then of course the others were full-length regular book. So it was kind of I think her writing style is so like interesting, because she has characters that will make you laugh. She has sexual incidents in the books where it's juicy, where you want to know what the heck is going on, and she's writing it where you're just completely like, oh, let me find out, that kind of deal. She has a lot of alpha males, so if you're not into that, you might struggle. But these are alpha males that I find very attractive in a way where I didn't think they were creepy. I didn't think they were over the top. I just thought they were just, ideal. But I will give you the rundown. Now, a lot of the stories do correlate to other series because of family member. So I'm going to start with the Strickland sisters. And this is, the first one is called Stay With Me. And this is 4C, Angie, and Ryan. Now, if you read any of the McCain brothers, this is, she showed up in Let Me Free You. So this is about a woman who is a YouTube star. She is a blogger. She does natural hair, and she also owned a property, and she rented part of her property to a man that she was only in town for business for a couple of months, and needless to say, connection happened there. I like that she was, very much sure for herself in a lot of ways, but also he's not known to stay in one spot. He's not known to stick around as, with anyone, because of his job and because of how he believes love is and how they connected. The story was very sweet, very engaging. I was for them. I love the connection that he had. There's that scene where he because she's a hair guru, and he washes her hair and recorded it for a YouTube video, and I thought that was so cute. So this one made me smile, and also there's moments where he defended her, and I thought that was nice. And also how in this he shows that not all the time a woman's gonna chase a man. Sometimes a man has to make the decision to follow the woman, and it works out, that kind of deal. So I like that. The second sister is it's Believe in Me, And this one is Lorenzo Higgs. So guys, if you hear any sound, it's windy as hell outside right now. But anyway, Lorenzo Higgs and Renee, let me tell you, Lorenz is just how they describe him, his personality. I was like, wait a minute, Renee, you better you better get it together. Renee is a sister in the group that was in the medical field. She became a nurse. She owns a clinic that basically the goal was to be able to get women who are in low income or in that bracket of discrimination that they may experience because of their age or their ethnicity or something in that area. And she and a partner came up with this clinic, and one of her quests was to help young moms who are maybe got themselves in a situation where they become teen mom. And once teen mom happens to be at the house where Lorenzo was, and she helped deliver that child, and there was that instant connection, but she wasn't sure who he really was to the young woman and how that happened. But the thing is, Lorenzo is what you call a street lit author. He writes, he's in a story, he's very famous. He's known for a lot of books, and how he accumulate wealth, questionable, but he accumulated a lot of wealth. He's very wealthy. He typically gets what he wants, and he wanted her, except for she was in the middle of a messy divorce. And yeah, so that should tell you. I love this. I love the end, towards the end, how their life changed. I love how he learned from his mistake. He was a teen father and made some really bad decisions, and how as a grown man now he's learned. What I love about this series is pretty much everybody's in their 30s and early 40s. That kind of, these are grown people who made some bad decisions throughout their life, and how things change. That's what you get from this. Then you have Be With Me, and this is the younger sister who have multiple degrees. She just keep going to school and getting degrees, but don't get a job, don't settle down, don't do anything she's supposed to do. And if she do work, it's not for long, that kind of deal. And she has a best friend who they have a messy past, and she's not able to get past it. But they're more than just friends, but everybody think they're just strictly friends. But they've been friends since like junior high school kind of deal. But she's engaged to a man who there's no love there. It's more of a status, more of a thing where she wants to be settled down, but she doesn't want to settle down where love's attached, because the love for her meant pain, meant something terrible happening. So she avoid all of that as possible. This one was messy. This one was, I had moments where I was just like, all right, I'm over this. Like, I was annoyed. I don't do well with I guess you would call it love triangle, because on the surface it looks like a love triangle, even though the fiance, really, there was no love there. Even for the fiance part, it's more of a status situation. He wants to become, it sounds like his father, so he needs to be married and look good on paper kind of deal. So that's where you get that from. Nah. So anyway, then I read Romy University series, and these are 2 books in the series, and it's called Teach Me, and this is Nadia and Nate. Nadia is the love child for Uncle Chester from the McCain brothers, and she is a professor, and here comes this man in her class. So of course she's a professor, it just looked highly inappropriate for a student to hit on her, and for her to even find the students attractive. What turned out to be is, at first I thought it was going to be, oh, I'm not feeling this professor-student situation. That's how I felt at first. But then it turned out that he is actually older than her. He's a retired football player, and he wanted to go back to school to finish his degree. And he was just determined to get her. So it was like his last semester. Agreement, I'm graduating, you're going out with me. And then things happen. I like this. He had a lot of drama behind him as well. With he's wealthy, of course, he was a football player, he had a lot of money, but he has children. There's problem there, and how they're able to connect. But I like that in this case it wasn't so much the woman that had the problem. It's more like the man is what really all that drama was surrounded him. I thought this was funny because Uncle Chester popped up so many times. I laughed my butt off. And I was for it. I laughed so much in this one. This was really, really good. And then you have Teach Me, and this is Giovanni. Giovanni is Lorenzo's child. This is one of his child that he had as a teenager, and he doesn't know his father, and he's in a town where his father lives, and at a university where he is creative photographer, and fell for a professor, and professor is Charlotte. And Charlotte is she's able to manifest things. She's manifests dreams, and dreams are often good. So she manifested him. She dreamt about him before she met him. But some of her dreams are not always pleasant and good. Sometimes she dreams of tragic things happening, and she doesn't like that. When she was a young child, she had an experience where she manifests in her dream that something was going to happen to someone that she told them, and it didn't end up good. So she bind that for years, and now as an adult it came back. What I like is, because I do believe in a lot of that stuff that you know, if people manifest in dreams, and oftentimes that it will come true, or similar to something similar to what you dream might come true. So I was very intrigued by this, and I find myself like really into the storyline, and seeing how, you know, dreams are very tricky, and oftentimes you want to dream the pleasant stuff, but not so much the bad stuff. And I just love the chemistry that they had. I love that he was trying to rekindle some kind of relationship with his father, and his father getting a second chance, and how there's a particular line where his mom can't get past that, and how they talk about how when you are at a certain age, sometime that when you experience something traumatic or something that really broke your heart, that you can be stuck at that age. Your body's growing, and certain things about you maturing, but there's certain things that you can't get past that age, and you never get over it. And you see that in this, and I found that was interesting, and also give you a glimpse of single moms who had to do things, and the relationship didn't work, and the father was not there physically, but he was there financially, you know. And there's moments where she manipulates situation because she couldn't get past the fact that he left her. But they were young. These are, you know, they were 15 and 16, and I don't really think anyone should expect at 15, 16 that you're going to make the right decision all the time. It was a little sketchy on that part, but I thought it was interesting. And so that was with that. But I would say overall, I really did enjoy Touch Me. I like Giovanni and Charlotte's story. Then I went to novellas. So these are short. These are like a little over 100 pages. So I was reading them like really quick. So these are 3 alpha brothers who had been abused pretty much by their father, whose idea of toughening them up was more of abuse. And so they live with scars. They live with things that they couldn't get past. And they're now late 30s, early 40s, and they're little by little trying to get past certain things, and it took a woman to make them see different sides of things, make them not be as aggressive, and let them smile and loosen up a little. So the first one you have is Seth. Now he's the oldest, and at his high school reunion he met a woman who he had a crush on, but knew he wasn't going to get her back then because of his reputation. He was known to fight, and he eventually did become a professional fighter. And so they're connected at the reunion because she was just not feeling it at the bar. A little bit of liquid courage going on there, and it went through. So these are grown people, nothing to lose. They're single, they could do what they want. So there was a lot of sexual chemistry up in this one. It was just a lot of that. But I thought he was like the brother that smiled the most, that could have a little bit more fun compared to the other two. And I like that when they realized after 3 years of them just having sexual connection, that's it, because they lived in 2 different states, and they would just meet up randomly whenever they feel like it. And it took them that long to realize that they were being exclusive. They were only dating each other. They were only having feelings for each other, but they weren't saying it because they're supposed to be that no string attached kind of relationship. It was cute when they realized, okay, oh, we really like each other. Oh, we ain't got time for waste. Let's get it on. I really like that. Then you have Ja and Trisha. The affair that happened here. I'm not a big fan of this either, because I was just like, what? She is not single. She with a man that's cheating like crazy. Then she's cheated. I was just like, whatever. But Ja is like the way he's described and the picture they show in the cover. He's the giant of the brother. He's much bigger than the other 2 brothers. So he's very intimidating. But at the same time, for whatever reason, this woman just to have him trapped. Like, she'll just show up when she wants to and do things to him. And at some point, he's just like, oh, you need to fix this. I'm not doing this anymore, kind of deal. And took charge. He's a bad guy. He's a bad guy. That's like the good girl that like the bad guy kind of deal. But then she also like, I have nothing else to say about this one. And then you have Shu, and Shu is my favorite of the 3. Shu is one that I will reread because that's how much I really like Shu. He is the quiet giant. He's the brother who doesn't speak much. He's very much a workaholic. He will go visit his father even though he wants to kill his father for all the torture the father did to him. He'll still go to the nursing home and visit his father every day. While he's there, he met the CNA, which is the woman that was taking care of his, clean up his father, pretty much, and was helping her. And they connected, and it was just one of those where she's like a 20-something-year-old and he's 30-something, and they both needed each other for because they're both going through different form of trauma. But she's more of, I experienced it, I'm not gonna let it make me somebody else. And she's still trying, she's working, she's trying to get her own place, she's living with her cousin, which was not good. But she still was pushing along. She still was doing what she has to do. So she has the drive to get herself out of the situation she's in. And versus he is doing all this, have a better situation than she does. But his own mentality is broken. You can see that he's a broken man, that he's tormented by his childhood trauma, and how she's able to somewhat get in the mix of that and change it. I just like pieces of him, like the aggressive, quiet part of him slowly was peeling off when she was really making him have fun, making him do things, making him experience life, because he wasn't living, he was just being. He wasn't really enjoying life. It's just something about him. But he just, like, you could still see that he had a heart, and he was a really nice guy. And I loved it. I was just so for it, and I was just, I literally was smiling the whole time, because he's rough. He's rough on the edges. He's an ex-military guy, so you got some little aggression to him. And there's things that he did in the story was like, moral right. This whole series right here, them boys, you hiding the morale with books, don't read this. Because they are bad for a reason, and they do some questionable things in this for their woman, because essentially that's what it is. And but she just was, I really liked that brother. That was like, yeah. And then the last book that I read from her, my first ever paranormal romance. I've never read one, guys. I tried once before, it just wasn't for me. And this one I really liked. So it's called Sanctuary. And this is, they met when they were young, and high school prom, they did the thing, and he disappeared. 20 years later, he showed up, and you discover why he left, and who he is, and his gift. And then also you realize what she is as well, and why she's not able to have a successful relationship in the last 20 years. I love it. It was short and sweet. So guys, I got cut off. So I don't know how much is come, but anyway, the last one, the paranormal, I really enjoyed it, and it was really, really good. So I am going to end this here, and thanks for watching, guys. And yeah, good month. So I'm hoping the same for May. Thanks for watching. Bye.